All right. Well, hey, Sheidalisse, how's it going today?
Hello, I'm good, doing good. How are you?
Pretty good. Just living the life of a mom. So if you hear any noises in the background, that's my little baby. I'm sure your girls might be coming home from school soon. So if they interrupt,
Yes.
totally okay. It's just mom life. But I appreciate you taking time out of your day. I know your days are busy. So yeah, let's just dive in. I'm going to ask you just a few questions if you would be so willing to share. But before you went through my program, what were you struggling with? Yeah, before.
Just a whole lot of things. I have suffered from depression and anxiety after the loss of our son. Struggled with that for several years. I was on antidepressant medications and anxiety medication and um, just a whole lot of other health issues started kind of around the same time. Just struggling with feeling tired all the time, brain fog, more like a tornado in my brain. Physically, I started gaining weight, constipation, joint pain, and just this constant feeling of anxiety, pretty much.
It's crazy how much you can carry, right?
Mhm, mhm. I hear her.
Yep, that's her. That's her. Yeah, that's rough. That's really rough. How were those struggles affecting you just throughout your daily life?
Just first of all, just waking up with this heavy feeling, the heavy chest, the heavy burden in my chest of anxiety, and just starting the day like that, just trying to function and not being able to focus on my work, feeling that I cannot be productive, joint pain every day, and just getting worse and worse. Constipation, which makes it virtually impossible to to lose weight. Just the frustration of the losing a few pounds, gaining them back, and just constant like that. Um, Mainly the joint pain that was like my wrist. Every single morning I would wake up with pain in my wrist and my fingers. So it just makes daily tasks more and more difficult each time.
Sorry, I'm muting myself just to make sure you can be heard. Um, okay, so we had talked, of course, before you jumped in and kind of went through these things. And I know it's a bit of like yo-yo dieting sometimes and trialing all the different methods that we hear. Um, Once you started into my program, what breakthroughs did you start to notice?
Um, First of all, I think the coaching part is really a key component because oftentimes we sort of know what we have to do or what we need to do in order to start feeling relief from certain symptoms, especially in my case with the joint pain. I know gluten was one big trigger for me. And I know that, but from there to being able to implement that in my daily living, the way that we eat at the house, it was just hard to implement and stay consistent with it. And I think one of the things that we spoke about that was really helpful to me was the concept of progress and not perfection. We're not seeking perfection. We're not seeking to fix it all at once, rather to show progress and to start implementing changes little by little, that are doable, that are realistic, so that we will actually stick with them.
Right.
Making improvements in the kitchen, cleaning out the kitchen. I think the kitchen clean out, that was a big practical component that was really helpful in clearing out the kitchen of things that I know are going to be temptations and are not going to help me along the journey. So just that concept, I know we spoke about, rather than fully eliminating gluten, just like really limiting it. Same with sugar. Uh, Rather than just like completely eliminating it, which makes it rather burdensome for me and makes it feel like it's not doable, then thinking of it as reducing that concept alone takes a lot of the pressure off, and just being able to work with you and in making those improvements little by little, that was really helpful for me.
Awesome. Thank you. And you make some really good points because I tell people like I'm an 80/20 coach, right? And for different people, so those who are watching this, you might be ready to just jump in. You're like, I'm ready to cut the gluten, I'm ready to cut the dairy, cut the sugar. Like, let's just do this. I'm done. And some of you are like, I'm going to get even more stressed if I do that. I need some bite-size baby steps. And, that's the beauty of the program. It's catered to you. Everyone's journey is different. Everyone's abilities are different. So I really appreciate you saying that. All right. So you might have already mentioned this. But before I do that, you had said that your daughters were actually really liking the process, and they were helping you along, right?
Yes, that was one thing. I was at the time that I was doing the program, I was homeschooling my oldest daughter, and she was learning with me. She was going through some of the modules with me, and I love to see her learn about this from a young age, because I don't want her to have to face the same struggles that I'm facing now, if she can avoid them altogether by just being educated about certain topics and about clean eating and about what things to avoid, just to start off. And just seeing her want to try some recipes or want to help me look through the things that we had at home and what things should be cut out and what things can we leave, or what changes can we make. It was really fun to see her and then her sister kind of jumping along and wanting to eat healthier things or try new recipes. So that is always inspiring, because one of the biggest challenges for moms and for me is just, I don't want to have to cook 2 different meals,
Right.
one for me, one for my family. I want this to be something that we can do together.
Awesome. Yeah, it's like you want to start them young. And I mean, the beauty about this day and age is that we have so many alternatives. One of my clients, her daughter, you've got the husband who's very picky, but I always say the husbands come along eventually if they don't start off with you. But you want to start your kids off. And so she started her daughter off and found the alternative paleo chips, the paleo the fruit snacks and things like that, and just clean eating foods, and she loves them. So, introducing those practices at a young age is really important. So I'm really glad that they were on board with that, and just want to applaud you for that.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, having some of these breakthroughs, like where are you now with the steps that you've taken? Like you had mentioned a lot of the symptoms that you had. Do you notice an improvement? I know you went through the 30-day. So what benefits did you notice?
The main 2, just the joint pain. Even though I am not 100% gluten-free, but just a reduction makes a difference in my joints. And I noticed that first thing in the morning, as soon as I wake up, I could see that I could just completely close my hands. Whereas before I would have stiffness in my fingers and maybe just go this much. I've seen an improvement in that. Constipation is not something that is a constant thing anymore. Also, one of the things that was really helpful to me, I was taking a lot of supplements, like multivitamins and a whole bunch of other things. And I remember sending that to you and
Yep.
and you helping me to go through it and see, okay, all of these are perhaps good, but not necessarily, you don't necessarily need to be spending so much money every month on all of these supplements, and kind of just going through and identifying which ones are the things that we really want to continue to invest in, and which ones are just maybe not necessary, so that we're not breaking the bank every month. So that was also very helpful, because we feel like we have to buy it all and we have to be on all the supplements, and there's a lot of great things out there, but we just we can't necessarily afford them all.
Right.
So that was also really helpful in the journey.
Awesome. I'm really glad to hear that. So maybe 2 last questions, but if you compare, Sheidalisse before and Sheidalisse now, and maybe even your family, what are some things that you guys have just really stuck with that you notice has really helped you or helped your family?
I think one of the things is just the oils, eliminating some of the unhealthy oils. That is one thing that we grew up thinking canola oils, those are the good ones, and corn oil, and now we're finding, oh, maybe not. The other thing is even the healthy fats, just being able to have those healthy fats from from the right sources. We're not talking about Kentucky Fried Chicken. We're talking about the right sources of fats. Those are important and much more savory than just trying to stick to a fat-free diet, which is what we were taught from,
Right.
at least what I was taught growing
Low.
up in Puerto Rico. Just like stay fat-free. That's what's heart healthy, and just finding that no, eating healthy and eating clean does not mean that you have to be fat-free or bland tasting food. So I think the oils were a big one for us. Also adding some of those other like good vegetables. I know some of the fruit smoothies. I'm big into smoothies, especially in the morning for breakfast.
You still do those?
Adding, yeah, some of like the kale, and some of those recipes are really easy to just continue and implement in our daily, maybe not necessarily every day, but in our weekly routines. Those are really easy to implement. One other change that I learned through the group and the coaching that somebody else suggested was having our weekly menu, but just making it a little more like a template to fill in rather than starting from scratch each week.
Trying to
Perhaps
figure it out
saying
every
like we're doing
day.
Italian on Mondays and Mexican on Tuesday, and that at least sets the framework for the week. So it's a little faster to plan for the weekly meal. So yeah, a lot of benefits, not about perfection again, but about progress and being able to stick with some changes and continue adding and building on those in the future.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you. Well, I want to, stay true to our time limit that I mentioned, just so people can get on with their day. But I just really appreciate you sharing and being transparent, and, just keep on the journey. It's an ongoing process. So thank you again for your time, and hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you so much, Nicole.
Thank you. Okay. Bye.